Alrighty guys, welcome to this video is going to be on how to set up good folder management in Fusion 360's SkyDrive, and then also how to think about the process of assemblies and sub-assemblies. So the first thing we do is talk about when you go to a360.autodesk.com and you log in, it will open up your default team. Now teachers, if you've done this correctly, the default team should be in this top left right here. So I'm going to call my default team the school that I'm at, and then the next step is how to break down from there. And so in each class I'm going to have a project. So you can create a project here and you can kind of call it whatever you want. I created an IED PLTW 2021 folder. So once I click on this, for students, what is going to be is that there's going to be activity folders based off the activity, and then there's also going to be a folder for you to put your materials in. That way everybody can see them, and then if you make something but then want to share it, it's easy to share. How do we get to we are all collaboratively working together? Well, under project members, you can invite anybody you want. So in my IT PLTW class at this point, everybody should be in this folder. And so everybody should be able to collaborate. Now back to the content here is when it comes to how to do assemblies and sub-assemblies well, what we're going to do here is that the folder that has the activity in there, if it's a group-based activity, groups will already be shown right here. Click on the group that you're in, and then throw in all these pieces that you have. So what I've done now is we're going to pretend somebody else has made the automata box, somebody else made a cam, somebody else has made the snail cam, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to create this assembly of all these parts. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this. And bye. Okay. So I had 3 other hypothetical members all do parts. Time to do my part and how I'm going to do that. We'll say my part was doing the crankshaft. So what I went ahead and done is I built the crankshaft, but I have not saved it yet. So when I go to save this, it's going to ask me where I want to save it. So my location is going to be the PLTW class, the activity, and my group. And so when I save this, hit save. We're going to give a second for the Autodesk SkyDrive to update. And so in here, if I refresh, you should be able to see there's my crankshaft. So what we're going to do here now is how do we go with the next step? How do we take our different sub-assemblies and make them into one larger assembly? And here's what I'm going to say is probably the best way to do that. So what I'm going to do then is I'm actually going to go ahead and close this out because I know I'm done with it. And we're going to start a new design. So we're going to save this as back in our group. So 226, group 1, we're going to call this our activity 2.2.6 assembly. And then since we're all making our own individual assemblies to help keep these straight, we're going to do assembly and then first initial, last name. Click done. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those parts into my assembly. And how do I do that? So under this data panel, we can find everything that is in that SkyDrive. So it's going to look like this by default. And so you can ignore everything under this sample side, and you will find up near the top, you should find your class. So double click on that, and then double click on the activity and then your group, and you'll find all these pieces are here ready to roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down and drag and drop, and it'll bring that design into this assembly. Now, as long as I do not change this original design, when other people pull that part in as well, it will not change their part. So we're going to go ahead and just drag in all of our pieces. Now, as you drag in your pieces, they're all going to overlap at the point of origin. I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these smaller pieces out front of my assembly, and that way I can see them as needed. And then crankshaft. And there we go. So what we've got is I have my sub-assembly, the box, and my other pieces, my cams and the crankshaft. And there will be some other pieces here as well. It'll be the follower rods and whatever's going on top of your automata. And so now we go from here, and then we start to make our full assembly. Now, when this goes on, and just to be said, is that when you make this file, by default, the person who originally created it will be on the name. And so to prevent cheating, guys, I really don't recommend you do it, because once you try to claim this as your own, it's already been watermarked as the original designer. Alrighty guys, that'll be it as far as sub-assemblies go. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take your sub-built assembly, and then you're going to save it into that folder. That way everybody can use your sub-assembly to make the full assembly for this activity. Alright guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, we'll be good to go. And I'll see you on the next video.